Welcome back to Ultra Prime Selections. Today we take a journey into the heart of Canadian politics, a tale often untold, yet crucial to the future of every citizen who calls this vast land home. We stand at the edge of a narrative that demands to be heard, a story of power, greed, and the relentless pursuit of control by those sworn to serve the public good. As we peel back the layers, we uncover a landscape riddled with corruption, where the very essence of democracy is under siege by those who wield influence not for the many, but for the few. In the corridors of power, where decisions that shape the nation are made, a different game is being played. It is a game of exploitation, where the stakes are high and the rewards are reaped by a select elite. These are not mere allegations whispered in the dark. They are realities faced by countless Canadians every day. The politicians, those entrusted with the mantle of leadership, have turned into architects of a system that drains the lifeblood of its citizens, amassing wealth and power at an alarming pace. Imagine a Canada where the resources meant to uplift and empower the populace are siphoned off, redirected to fuel the opulence of a privileged few. This is not fiction. This is the stark reality unfolding in our time. The very institutions designed to protect and serve have become tools of exploitation, their original purposes twisted to serve the ambitions of the powerful. As we delve deeper, we uncover the mechanisms of this corruption. It is a web intricately woven with threads stretching across the political landscape. Politicians, once heralded as champions of the people, now stand accused of betraying the trust placed in them. They have become adept at manipulating the system, bending rules and regulations to their will, all while maintaining an illusion of integrity and accountability. The wealth amassed by these political elites is staggering, a testament to the extent of their influence. It is a wealth built on the backs of hardworking Canadians who struggle under the weight of rising costs and diminishing freedoms. But how did we arrive at this juncture? How did the ideals of democracy and equality become so distorted? The answers lie in the corridors of power, where decisions are made behind closed doors, away from the prying eyes of the public. It is here that the true nature of political corruption is laid bare, a system designed to serve the interests of a select few, while the majority are left to fend for themselves. The consequences of this corruption are far-reaching, affecting every aspect of Canadian life. From healthcare to education, from infrastructure to social services, no area is immune to the impact of this greed-driven agenda. The resources that should be invested in building a better future are instead funneled into the coffers of the elite, leaving the rest of the nation to bear the brunt of their avarice. Yet, amidst this bleak landscape, there is hope. A growing number of Canadians are awakening to the realities of this corruption, demanding accountability and change. They are the voices of dissent, rising against the tide of complacency, refusing to accept the status quo. These citizens understand that the power to effect change lies within their grasp, that together they can reclaim their nation from the clutches of corruption. This is not merely a call to action. It is a rallying cry for every Canadian to stand up and be counted. The time has come to unmask the corruption that has taken root in our political system, to expose the truth and hold those responsible to account. This is our moment, our opportunity to rewrite the narrative and forge a new path for future generations. As we embark on this journey, let us remember the words of those who have come before us, the trailblazers who dared to challenge the status quo and demand a better future. The truth is a seed, they said. It will grow despite the darkness. And so we plant the seeds of change, nurturing them with the knowledge that together we can overcome the forces that seek to divide and conquer. Join us as we delve into the depths of Canadian politics, uncovering the truths that have remained hidden for far too long. This is more than just a documentary. It is a movement, a call to action for every Canadian to rise up and reclaim their sovereignty. The journey begins here, and it is one we must all undertake if we are to secure a future free from the shackles of corruption. So, let us march forward with courage and determination, united in our quest for justice and equality. For it is only through collective action and unwavering resolve that we can dismantle the structures of power that have held us captive for so long. Together, we can build a Canada that truly reflects the values and aspirations of its people. A nation where every voice is heard and every citizen is empowered to shape their destiny. In the unfolding saga of Canadian politics, a shadow looms over the freedoms once taken for granted by its citizens. The story of freedom in Canada is not just about the rights enshrined in the Constitution, but about the subtle, creeping erosion of these freedoms through the machinations of power. Today, we find ourselves at a crossroads where the very essence of what it means to be free is under siege. The systematic erosion of citizen freedoms is not an abstract concept. It is a reality unfolding before our eyes. At the heart of this encroachment are Bills C-10 and C-36, legislative measures that have sparked intense debate and concern across the nation. These bills, under the guise of regulation and protection, threaten to stifle the voices of Canadians, curbing the freedom of speech that is the cornerstone of any democratic society. Bill C-10, initially presented as a means to modernize broadcasting regulations, has morphed into a tool that could potentially censor online content. It grants sweeping powers to regulatory bodies, allowing them to oversee and control what Canadians can post and view on the internet. The digital realm, once a bastion of free expression and innovation, now faces the threat of becoming a controlled and monitored space where dissenting voices may be silenced under the weight of bureaucratic oversight. Similarly, Bill C-36, framed as a measure to combat online hate speech, raises significant concerns about its implications for freedom of expression. While the intent to curtail hate speech is commendable, the broad and vague definitions within the bill open the door to potential misuse. The fear is that legitimate criticism and debate could be swept up in a net cast too wide, where the line between hate speech and free speech becomes dangerously blurred. These legislative moves are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of governmental overreach. They reflect a growing trend where the state assumes greater control over the lives of its citizens, often under the pretense of safety and security. This encroachment is insidious, for it cloaks itself in the language of protection while undermining the very freedoms it purports to safeguard. The impact of such regulations is profound. It strikes at the heart of a society's ability to engage in open dialogue, to challenge authority, and to push for change. When the freedom to speak one's mind is curtailed, the very foundation of democracy is weakened. Without the ability to question and to critique, we risk becoming a society where conformity is valued over creativity, where silence is preferred over speech. Yet, amidst this climate of control, there is a growing resistance. Canadians from all walks of life are beginning to recognize the stakes involved. They understand that the erosion of freedoms is not just a political issue, but a personal one. It affects how they live, how they work, and how they interact with the world around them. The fight to preserve freedom is not an easy one. It requires vigilance, courage, and a willingness to stand up against the tide of authoritarianism. It demands that citizens remain informed, engaged, and ready to challenge the status quo. For in the end, the preservation of freedom is not the responsibility of the government, but of the people themselves. As we navigate this challenging terrain, we must remember that the power to shape the future lies in our hands. The erosion of freedoms can be halted, but only if we are willing to act. It is a call to arms for every Canadian who values their rights and freedoms, a rallying cry to resist the forces that seek to undermine them. In this critical moment, we must ask ourselves, what kind of society do we want to live in? One where freedoms are cherished and protected, or one where they are slowly eroded under the guise of regulation? The choice is ours to make, and the time to act is now. As we look to the future, let us be guided by the words of those who have fought for freedom before us. Let us draw strength from their courage and resolve to continue the fight. For in the battle for freedom, every voice counts, every action matters, and every moment is an opportunity to make a difference. The erosion of freedoms is not inevitable. It is a challenge we must face head-on with determination and hope. Together, we can reclaim the rights that are ours and ensure that the legacy of freedom endures for generations to come. As we delve deeper into the heart of Canada's political landscape, we encounter a reality that is as troubling as it is undeniable. the economic strain on everyday Canadians is reaching unprecedented levels. Across the nation, citizens are grappling with an ever-increasing cost of living. Basic necessities, housing, food, healthcare, are becoming luxuries for many. The relentless rise in taxes only adds to the burden, squeezing the lifeblood from hardworking families who find themselves struggling to make ends meet. Consider the story of a young family in Toronto. Both parents work full-time jobs, yet they find themselves living paycheck to paycheck. Each month, they face the difficult decision of which bills to prioritize. Should they pay the rent or buy groceries? This is not an isolated incident, but a growing trend. While citizens tighten their belts, the political elite seem to live in a parallel universe, untouched by the hardships they impose on others. Lavish dinners, extravagant trips, and opulent lifestyles are the norm for those in power. These politicians, entrusted with the welfare of the nation, indulge in luxury. The juxtaposition is stark and unsettling. On one hand, we see citizens who are forced to sacrifice their dreams and aspirations just to survive. This economic disparity is not just a matter of unfairness. It is a ticking time bomb threatening the fabric of Canadian society. The economic policies enacted by the government, often touted as necessary for growth and stability, seem to benefit a select few, while leaving the majority to bear the brunt. Tax breaks for corporations and the wealthy, cuts to essential services, and a lack of investment in affordable housing paint a bleak picture. In Alberta and Saskatchewan, the frustration is palpable. These provinces, rich in resources and potential, find themselves at odds with federal policies. The call for autonomy grows louder as residents seek the power to control their own economic destiny, free from the constraints of a centralized government. The stories of individuals leaving their homes in search of better opportunities are becoming more common. Families uproot their lives, seeking refuge. This mass exodus is a testament to the disillusionment felt by many Canadians who no longer see a future for themselves within the current system. As we reflect on these realities, we must ask ourselves, how did we get here, and where do we go from here? The time has come for Canadians to demand accountability from those in power. It is not enough to simply accept the status quo. We must challenge the decisions that prioritize the wealth of a few over the welfare of the many. We must advocate for policies. In this pivotal moment, the choice is ours. We can either continue down this path of economic disparity and social division, or we can unite to forge a new path, one that is equitable, just, and reflective of the values we hold dear as a nation. The economic strain on Canadians is not just an issue of dollars and cents. It is a moral imperative that calls us to action. As citizens, we have the power to demand change and hold our leaders accountable. We have the power to shape the future. Let us not be silent in the face of injustice. Let us raise our voices and stand together to create a Canada that truly reflects. The time for action is now. Together, we can reclaim our future and build a nation that is as prosperous as it is just. In the shadow of political corruption and the systematic erosion of freedoms, a new chapter is being written in the Canadian narrative. It is a story of movement, of migration, of a mass exodus. Canadians from across the nation, particularly from the bustling provinces of Ontario and Quebec, are packing their bags, leaving behind what once was, and setting their sights on the prairies of Alberta and Saskatchewan. This is not merely a relocation. It is a search for autonomy and a quest for better opportunities. These provinces, Alberta and Saskatchewan, stand as symbols of hope and resilience amidst a backdrop of political disillusionment. They represent a promise of sovereignty, a chance to reclaim what has been lost to the tides of political negligence and economic exploitation. The allure of these lands is not just in their vast open spaces or their rich natural resources, but in their potential for self-governance and the freedom that comes with it. The reasons behind this exodus are manifold. For many, it is the mounting economic strain that has become unbearable. The cost of living continues to rise, taxes seem never-ending, and yet the lavish lifestyles of politicians remain unchecked. This glaring disparity between the governed and the governing has fueled a growing discontent, pushing citizens to seek out new horizons where their efforts and contributions are valued and rewarded. But economic factors are just one piece of the puzzle. At the heart of this movement is a deep-seated desire for autonomy. The people of Alberta and Saskatchewan have long felt the heavy hand of federal oversight, a hand that often seems disconnected from the realities of life on the ground. By moving to these provinces, Canadians are not just seeking a change of scenery, they are seeking a change in governance, a shift towards a system that is more in tune with their needs and aspirations. This exodus is not without its challenges. Uprooting one's life is never easy, and the journey is fraught with uncertainties. But for many, the promise of a fresh start outweighs the risks. It is a leap of faith, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who refuse to be shackled by the status quo. As more and more Canadians make their way westward, the landscape of the nation begins to shift. This movement is not just a physical relocation, but a symbolic gesture of defiance against a system that has failed them. It is a call to action, a rallying cry for others to join in the pursuit of a future that is shaped by the people, for the people. In the eyes of those who embark on this journey, Alberta and Saskatchewan are not just destinations. They are beacons of hope. They offer a chance to break free from the chains of political corruption and economic oppression, to forge a new path that is guided by the principles of autonomy and self-determination. The Great Canadian Exodus is a testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder that change is possible when individuals come together in pursuit of a common goal. This is not just a story of migration. It is a story of transformation. It is about reclaiming control over one's destiny, about standing up against the forces that seek to divide and conquer. As we witness this exodus unfold, we are reminded that the fight for autonomy and better opportunities is not just a regional issue, but a national one. It is a reflection of the broader struggles that Canadians face in their daily lives, a microcosm of the challenges and triumphs that define our nation. The journey to Alberta and Saskatchewan is a journey towards a new beginning, a chance to rewrite the narrative and build a future that is rooted in the principles of freedom and justice. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope. As we stand at the crossroads of history, the choices we make today will shape the future of our nation. The Great Canadian Exodus is a call to action, a challenge to each and every one of us to stand up and be counted, to fight for the Canada we believe in. In this moment of uncertainty and upheaval, we are reminded that the power to effect change lies within each of us. It is up to us to seize this moment, to embrace the possibilities that lie ahead, and to forge a path towards a brighter, more equitable future. The journey may be long and arduous, but the destination is worth the effort. For in the pursuit of autonomy and better opportunities, we find not only a new beginning, but a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. This is the promise of the Great Canadian Exodus, a promise that we must strive to fulfill for ourselves and for future generations. And so as we look to the horizon and set our sights on the prairies of Alberta and Saskatchewan, we do so with a sense of hope and determination. For in the end, it is not just about where we are going, but why we are going there. It is about reclaiming our future, about standing up for what is right, and about building a Canada that is truly for all Canadians. As we stand at the precipice of a new era in Canadian history, a crucial question looms. Will we continue to allow corruption and deceit to dictate our lives, or will we rise and reclaim what is rightfully ours? The time has come for an awakening. Across the vast landscapes of Alberta and Saskatchewan, a movement is taking root, fueled by a desire for autonomy and a rejection of the status quo. For too long, the political elite have treated this nation as their personal playground, amassing wealth and power, while the average citizen struggles to make ends meet. But the tide is turning. The truth, though buried beneath layers of deception, is emerging with a force that cannot be ignored. It is time to resist, to stand up against the erosion of our freedoms and the exploitation of our resources. Consider the impact of Bills C-10 and C-36, which have tightened the noose around our freedom of speech. These regulations are not just words on paper. They are shackles, binding our tongues and stifling our voices. But we're not voiceless. We are not powerless. Together, we can push back against these constraints and demand our rights. The economic strain imposed on us by those in power has reached a breaking point. As taxes rise and the cost of living spirals out of control, we watch politicians indulge in lives of luxury, indifferent to the hardships faced by the very people they are supposed to serve. This disparity is unsustainable, and it is time for change. The mass exodus of Canadians from provinces like Ontario and Quebec is a testament to the growing discontent. Families are uprooting their lives in search of a better future, seeking refuge in provinces where autonomy and opportunity still hold promise. This movement is not just a migration. It is a declaration of independence, a refusal to be complicit in a system that no longer serves its people. But relocation is not the only answer. The fight for sovereignty and justice must be waged on all fronts. It is a battle that requires courage, conviction, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about our political landscape. We must hold those in power accountable, demand transparency, and refuse to accept anything less than genuine representation. Let us not be lulled into complacency by the false promises of those who have failed us time and again. Instead, let us channel our anger and frustration into action. Let us unite as a nation, transcending provincial borders, to forge a future that honors the values we hold dear. The call to action is clear. Wake up. Resist. Reclaim your future. The time is now to stand against corruption and take back our sovereignty. In the face of adversity, we have the power to redefine our destiny. This is our moment to rise, to speak out, and to demand the change we so desperately need. Together, we can build a nation that reflects our collective aspirations, a Canada that is truly free and just. So let us begin this journey with resolve and determination. Let us embrace the challenge and commit to the fight for a brighter tomorrow. The future is ours to shape, and it starts with each one of us taking a stand. Wake up, resist, reclaim your future. The time is now. Subscribe, like and share. Make your voice heard.